Welcome back to the Comstock channel. My name is Brianne Hendrickson. Today I have Zach with us from Hefty Seed Company. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for being on. Um, so a lot of people don't really, if you're on TikTok, they know you, but some of our viewers are not on TikTok. So kind of just tell us about your job and what you do.
So at Hefty Seed, I'm an agronomist there, but I also work for Ag PhD, and so I run some of their social media accounts, mainly TikTok. So I'm producing videos there, and then if you've heard of Ag PhD, you know that it's also a radio show and a TV show, and so there's all these different parts together, and social media is just an extra part that I've started to develop and help with as when I came back from college, which I just graduated in May.
So where did you graduate from?
So I graduated from Morningside University in Sioux City, Iowa,
Okay.
and I graduated with ag business and agronomy.
So let's talk about your agronomy first. What has that been like?
Yeah, so I really enjoy agronomy, so it's more learning every part of it. So I'd be learning about the crops, crop protection, some equipment, like the new ag, like precision ag, new technologies and stuff like that. And so you get to learn all of it, and I really enjoy that part of it. But there's a lot to learn, especially when you're as young as I am.
What kind of year have you seen?
Well, so I get to travel kind of around the Midwest a little bit, and it's just so variable this year. There was some really good areas and then some not as good areas, and some of those areas are really close together. So some guys had really good fields. Like on our farm, we had some really good fields that did well, but then we had other fields that did really bad. Um, and so it was just so variable with who got rain, and that was the main thing that drove the crops, I think, is just how much rain people got.
Was it, going through college and, in textbooks and things, and I'm sure you were out in the field also, but was
hmm
it eye-opening to, like, kind of go on your own and then see all of these fields and not just school fields and be like, this is, kind of like you said, going and visiting different fields, you saw different things. Was that an eye-opening experience? What was that kind of like?
Yeah, so when you're in school and you kind of learn about different crops and diseases and weeds, you see pictures of them, but actually seeing them in real life is different. And you don't know what you're going to see in each field. So in the textbook, you know, well, you're going to see these weeds, but in the field, you might not see a weed in this field, but then in another field, you might. So you just get to experience a lot more, and it's really cool to see when you're out there scouting fields or walking fields, and you get to put what you learned the basics of in school to practice.
All right, let's switch over to social media. Your time on TikTok. How did that kind of come
hmm
about? Because that's not an easy task.
Yeah, so it actually started a while ago, and in the spring, so I played baseball in college, and so I started a TikTok account to create energy drink reviews on my TikTok page, because if you know anything about college baseball, it's a lot, it's long days, and so a lot of guys drink energy drinks. So I wanted to try a lot of them because there is actually surprisingly a lot of different options out there. So I thought that would be fun. And so I would make little vlogs and stuff, and that's really what I started with. And I'm like, well, I really want to do this as an actual job for someone and something. And I really enjoy agronomy. And so then I came back um, and decided to bring what I know from TikTok and social media and started growing our Egg PhD TikTok page.
Have you cracked the code, as I like to say, on finding that group who you can go towards? Because on TikTok it is a very large group. You're worldwide.
hmm Yep.
How how have you kind of been like, okay, this is this is the avenue that I want to go down because you get on TikTok, I mean, it's everything from energy drink vlogs to
Yeah.
kids washing hair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's a
Yeah.
very wide range. So how have you kind
Yeah.
of narrowed down and found your group, I like to say?
Well, with Egg Peachy's background, if you've ever watched it, you know it's very informative, brings a lot of value to farmers, and that's what I tried to transfer over to the TikTok. So the main goals is to be informative, bring a lot of value for free to farmers, and that's kind of what I've been doing. So producing very information based TikToks that I create, and then also utilizing the knowledge of Brian and Darren on the radio show and the TV show in order to bring farmers more value. So that's really where the basis of the Egg PhD TikTok account is.
You also have your own TikTok, and that's a little bit
Hmm.
different. So let's kind of talk
Yeah,
about that and you bringing in your home life onto TikTok and how
yeah.
harvest and all that's going.
My page is a lot different, but I don't have a brand that I've come from. Like Egg PhD has been a brand. The TV show has been around for 20 years. The radio show about 10 years. And so that's their brand. And so we're sticking to those values. But my side is kind of bringing in my point, my perspective, and what I think that farmers kind of enjoy. They kind of want to see how things are going around the country. So that's where I started to bring in talking about how the crops are doing in my area and some bring some humor into it, which an Egg PhD it's more informative. And so when I get to go onto my own personal account, then there's a little bit less, there's a little bit more leeway, I guess, and I get to choose what I want to post. And so I've mainly been focusing on Egg PhD and business and stuff, but also being able to produce other content that you see fit on your own account is also pretty enjoyable.
How hard is it to juggle? I mean, technically that's three jobs right there. That's not the easiest
Hmm.
thing to juggle. How's
Yeah,
that?
no,
On top of being a farmer, I mean, you're still
mhm,
harvesting as well. So how's that been?
yeah, yeah. So there's kind of a lot going on, but I've just graduated school and kind of been thrown into a lot of different roles just to see what I work well at and what works out best. But it's really enjoyable to be able to move from one role to the next in order to see the whole circle of things. And it really helps me learn fast and a lot of information very quickly. It's very challenging to keep them straight sometimes, but the amount of information that I get to learn, and I'm never able to just chill. I guess there's lot of stuff going on, and I'm just very busy, and so it helps me learn a lot.
So if a farmer's watching and they want to get on TikTok and they want to help educate, because I mean, in a way, you are educating the people who are on TikTok that don't know anything about
Hmm.
farming. What would be some
Yep.
key factors that you would be like, this is something I would recommend putting in your TikToks or talking about in your TikToks?
Yeah, it depends on what you're trying to do, I guess. But if you're trying, what the three things that I've found, regardless of what niche you want to
Mhm.
have, is bringing value to whoever your target audience is. So our target audience is farmers and some non-farmers too, just to help inform them, which is the same principle as what Egg PhD is. So bringing a lot of value, making it enjoyable to watch where the it looks good and the audio sounds pretty good. It's not hard to listen to, and make it not super long where they're make it engaging where they're getting multiple things happening on the screen where you're showing kind of B-roll of whatever you're talking about. So talking about harvest and you have combines rolling through the field or semis driving. For me, that's kind of the things that I look at. But for whatever niche you're in, you just adding the value of what those people want to watch, I guess. So for farming, that's kind of how I bring into it.
So switching back over, let's kind of talk about harvest. How did your harvest go this year?
It went pretty okay. Like I said earlier, some fields went good, and because they got some more rain, and some fields did not do very good. But it was kind of spread out. Our alfalfa did pretty well, even though it was drought in our area. It did pretty good. The corn, a lot of our corn gets cut for silage, and it was very variable. Some spots were good and some spots weren't so good, so it kind of averaged out to be okay. And then our soybeans were very average, not very great or super bad. They're just okay. Is kind of because some spots weren't very good, but some spots were fine. So everything was kind of average, I would say, in our little area.
Is it a family farm? How is all
Yeah.
that?
Brian and Darren, so my dad's Brian, they run the farm, and we farm about 3,500 crop acres. I really appreciate being able to talk to you about things that are happening, and it's been really enjoyable.
I appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Want more premium content? Subscribe to the Comstock Report, where you will receive 2 reports daily. Want more video content? We are on Facebook, YouTube, and now TikTok. So don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.